All right, let's switch over to the offense now. A lot of good defensive talk there, a lot of fun stuff talking about that, but we got to get to the offense. And last time we started with Will Howard. Man, let's start with the guy who started us off with the scoring, Jeremiah Smith. Dude, I'm gonna run out of things to say about this kid. This kid is amazing. He is so fast. That breakaway touchdown, which by the way, we'll get into Will Howard. We talk about that great decision by Will Howard. The decision making
Hmm.
was off the charts with that play and other plays tonight as well. But man, Jeremiah Smith coming into this game just completely wrecking this Western Michigan secondary. I'm trying to figure out exactly how many yards. Yeah, 5 receptions, 119 yards, 1 touchdown, 70-yard reception for that touchdown. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Man, this is what Ohio State has. I felt kind of been missing for the past since Garrett Wilson and Olave left was the yak. And you get it from Jeremiah. I mean, 70-yard passing touchdown. You can't ask for it any better. And for a minute, you're like, is he going to get hawked? Are they going to get him? No, the guy's from South Florida. You can see that South Florida speed. And, I remember in the offseason, a lot of people said, hey, y'all don't have team speed. Y'all don't have this. I don't want to hear it, man. You could literally see it. You can you can see it. And I saw a picture somebody posted, and it's just Jeremiah and 5 defenders just chasing behind him. Another one, Berm tweeted out, shout out Berm. He tweeted out Seth McLaughlin just waving in the background. That was beautiful, man. So the offensive line, they're loving it. It's just bringing a different spark to this offense and to this team.
True, man. True. There are so many things with Jeremiah Smith, and I felt like Mecca Ibuka had some really good yard after catch as well today. He had that little drag route there at the beginning of the game. He got what 20, 30 yards after that as well. Maybe not 30, probably about 20, 15, 20 yards after that one. That was awesome to see. I mean, that's one thing that Will Howard is really going to be helped by. If he can give these balls in time to these receivers over the middle,
Mhm.
he's going to be helped out so much by their yards after catch and what they can do. It's something we saw a lot with Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson. Now, granted, CJ Stroud was basically handing the ball off to him, so it's easier to get yards after catch when you're getting the
Right.
ball in the exact right spot. But still, I mean, it's fantastic to see on the receivers. Mike, we had 12 different guys catch a ball today. 12 different guys. We're talking Patrick Gerd, we're talking Will Kazmarek, Kojo Antwi, James Peoples, Bennett Christian with a touchdown today from Julian Sain. What's your thoughts on just how many guys caught balls in this game?
Yeah, I actually put that in my notes. It was actually funny because on the first drive, you had, Jeremiah catching one, Emeka catching one, G Scott catching one. And so I was just watching that and I'm like, I think a lot of people are going to touch the ball today. I could just tell, man. And you also saw, the coaches rewarding play. Carnell had a nice hard block, throwing the dude out of bounds. Come back next play, big play by Carnell, man. I loved it. I love what I'm seeing. And hey, like Will said, you got all these little gadgets, man. All you got to do is go out there and be a point guard, not do too much. Just let your playmakers make plays. And, I remember JT Barrett talked about that all the time. I don't got to do too much. I just got to let my playmakers make plays, get them the ball and let them go to work. That's my job.
True, man, true, and it's awesome to see because that's what Will Howard needs, right? We're not asking Will Howard to go out here and be, Carson Beck or Caleb Williams. Like we're not asking him to go out there and be this incredible playmaker. We're just asking him to get the ball to the guys who can do something with it, whether that's yards after catch, whether that's them high pointing a one-handed catch or whatever. Just put it in the vicinity, let them get the ball, and they're gonna work. Not just that, but also, I mean, we saw some option tonight as well with the running backs, right? I mean, Will Howard was out there. He was doing some fake handoffs, and then he was running off to the side, and then they come right after Will Howard. Then he pitched it out to Travion Henderson, Quinshaw Judkins. I mean, we're seeing some old school option tonight, and Chip Kelly will throw anything in there, dude. He just goes crazy with getting anything and everything he wants out of this team, and I love to see it.
Yeah, you have to pick your poison with that team, right? You pick Will Howard or Trey, Quinshon Judkins, and even James People. They're going to make you pay. You know, I mean, if you pick them, then Will Howard's going to make you pay. Like we saw him score a touchdown. So I'm loving it, man. This is what we said. People said we got the talent, we got the roster. You want to see it, and that's what you want to see. All of your playmakers getting involved, and you know, with all these playmakers, it's like there's only one football. You know, Ryan Day always talked about that, and that's why you have when you get those opportunities, you have to make the most of them.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And you know who made the most of his opportunities today? Was Quinshon Judkins, who had 9 carries, 2 touchdowns. Should have been 3, but you know we'll leave that for another conversation another day. You also had Travion Henderson, 10 carries, 2 touchdowns. Between the two of them, they combined for 174 yards. You also had James Peoples getting into the game. He had a big long run, and then he had a touchdown as well. And Will Howard, he had himself a touchdown run also. So 6 total touchdowns on the ground today. Really felt like it could have been more through the passing game, but I mean, we're getting into the red zone, Mike, and converting, and a lot of this conversion is happening through the run game. Feels like this was a missing piece to Ryan Day and his offense, was figuring out how do we get the ball into the end zone, not just through big pass plays and throwing it up to our guys, but also just on the ground. Good decision making by the quarterback who's getting the ball to the right guys. It's fantastic to see, and I couldn't be more happy with 6 rushing touchdowns on the day.
Check this out. So rushing wise, you had Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, James People, Sam William Dixon, Will Howard, Julian Sang, and Devin Brown. Out of the 7, 6 of them averaged 5 yards per carry when rushing the ball. That is insane. Think about the last time we actually could say that. It don't matter what game, but I mean, you had 6 people. That's beautiful to see, man.
It truly is, man. It truly is. This Russian attack, and it goes back to the run blocking, right? Let's go to that for a minute. We brought up the wide receiver blocking. We brought up the running backs and what they were able to do. Man, I tweeted it out. I can't remember the last time I saw an Ohio State offensive line this successful run blocking, not just for portions of the game, but for the entire game. I mean, guys weren't having to bounce it to the outside because there wasn't room there. And you know who I was really impressed with was Travion Henderson. Man, he was putting his head down. He was getting into those holes, and he was running and trying to get through any guy he could. Now, sometimes maybe it would have been a little bit better to punch it out to the outside, but I felt like that was his way of instilling confidence in his guys in the offensive line and saying, look, guys, I trust you. I trust you're going to open up the holes for me. And he believed in them. So 66 yards for him tonight on 10 carries. Like you said, over 5 yards per carry, 6.6 yards per carry in the game. It's awesome to see. What was your thoughts on the run blocking?
The run blocking, just what did we want to see? We saw last week, we was like, they got some identification issues, who to block, things like that. This offense was still humming. And our starting left guard wasn't even out there yet. I mean, and again, go to see the reps. You see the backups get in, and then they go, and you know, James Peoples making plays and able to rush for, like I said, over 5 yards a carry. This is exactly what you want to see. And it just gives you confidence because, you know, we talked going into the season about the depth of the offensive line, and it gives you so much confidence. And then, you know, a lot of people was worried about Justin Fry. Now, you know, we still want to see a little bit more in recruiting. But one thing that I can say is he's developing guys, right? And to be honest, I don't care about the stars. I don't. I care about development because, like I has been on record saying, it never mattered about the stars whenever we had a national championship team. It wasn't no full row of 5 stars. We had some guys who we knew wasn't gonna make the NFL, right? On those championship teams. So give Fry a break, man. Shout out to him, and then the other offensive line guys, skipping my mind that we brought in, did a great job as well. Yeah, Drevno.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm all about it, man. I will critique a coach if I feel like there's something that needs to be critiqued, but I'm also going to give the guys flowers if he does something well. And guess what? Like tonight, he did something really well. He got these guys ready. To me, it felt like the first game, some of the issues were just lack of understanding the scheme and some of what they were supposed to do, which is the first game. Like, I'm not going to go, all in on the team because they don't understand everything. That's why you play the games. We talk about it all the time. You said earlier, like game reps are different than practice reps, especially when you don't know what the other team is doing. Talk about a team who didn't know what the other team was doing and how that affected them earlier today. We can talk about that later if we want. But like, if you don't know what the other team is doing, that makes things different, and it's a different kind of game you have to play. So I felt like this was an offensive line who understood their assignments, understood what they were supposed to be doing. It felt like Justin Fry got those guys in the film room. And that's one of the reasons why that I liked that Austin Sareveld played today, that it wasn't Donovan Jackson. Listen, I love Donovan Jackson. I think that he is a deserving All-American. He's going to have his tree in Buckeye Grove. That's fantastic. But I also think you need to have some of these other guys developing, and these reps for Austin Sareveld are, I mean, they are just invaluable. They are exactly what he needs for his development, for him to grow. And I can expect next year when Austin Sareveld is one of the starting guards for this team, he is going to be so much better than what he would have been at the beginning of the year because of the valuable reps he got in these first two games, if not more than that.
I agree. I
All
agree.
right. All right. All right. Let's talk about Will Howard. We're 30 minutes into the show. We haven't really talked about Will Howard. We touched on him here and there, but Will Howard, man. My take. Great day. Great decision making. I mean, he had some underthrown balls. Those are kind of a concern, but decision making overall. He saw that corner on that play that Jeremiah Smith had where he went 70 yards. Like that corner
Mhm.
thought he was going to sneak out that screen and go take that to the house. Turns out, Will Howard saw him cheating over a little bit, and so Will Howard found Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith so fast, it got by the safety, heading for the end zone. Excellent decision making there. What he was doing in the RPO, like people compare Kyle McCord and Will Howard, and I'm not trying to diss Kyle McCord here, but I feel like Will Howard's decision making and what he is willing to do is on a different level than Kyle McCord. That's not me saying that Kyle McCord is bad. That's just me saying like I feel like he brings an aspect to this team that Kyle McCord wouldn't, and that is ultimately better for this team. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, man. Will Howard, he's bringing a different swagger. Well, what we're seeing the offense out there. I remember last year watching the Indiana game, watching some of them other games. The offense, even though we were winning, they didn't look too happy. But all you seeing is these guys rallying around each other. You see Will taking, as Ryan Day had been saying all offseason, taking command of the offense. That's what we see from Will Howard, and that's what he's bringing. And these guys are able to go ahead, be confident, have that swag out there because of our single caller. They trust him. And these are the same guys that was there last year. They obviously trust him more than the guys that was there than the single caller that was there last year. And I like it. He's only been in the program, for a few months. And he's able to take command of the guys. That means that in the offseason, he really gained their trust and really showed them something. And we're getting to see it.
100%, man. I feel like Will Howard is the definition of what you want a leader to be, at least on this team, because he is out there with his guys. I mean, he's dapping them up every chance he gets. I mean, if you ever get a peek of him on the sideline, there's never a point where he's sitting by himself. And unfortunately, not every quarterback is built like that. Like there are a lot of quarterbacks that kind of like to be on their own and kind of like to process the game and stuff. And I'm not saying that's bad, but I'm saying I don't think that's what this team responds well to. I think Ryan Day wants his quarterback with those guys, working with those guys as much as possible, encouraging them. Hey, here's what I would like to see different. Hey, here's what I thought you did. Did you do something else here? And I feel like that's exactly the kind of stuff that you are getting from Will Howard. It's fantastic to see. And it was also fantastic to see the other quarterbacks getting out there. Mike, we saw Julian Sayin with the long touchdown pass to Bennett Christian. We also saw Devin Brown. Lincoln Keenholz was out there as well. It's really, really fun to see. What were your thoughts on the three other guys that played?
Yeah, honestly, man, it looks like Devin Brown getting reps, looking more comfortable. His arm talent, I think, is amazing. Very strong arm, was able to go out there and be accurate, and it just looks like he's settling down. And that's just the one thing it seems like, you know, players do when they get more reps, like I've been saying. So I like what I've seen from Devin Brown, and I was glad that they got him in there pretty early. And then Julian saying, like I said, you just see the future. It's hard not to get excited and think about the future and think about what will be. But you just know if this team is able to continue to perform like that, and then our coaches, because I remember we used to complain, man, it's the fourth quarter, we're up big, and they ain't put the backups in. The fact that they're trusting them is going to give the fans, even if, knock on wood, nobody goes down, but it is football. It just allows us to even have trust in them. And then now it allows them to go ahead and build on it game after game. And so now, they get this bye week going into the bye week. And I want to see them pick up with the same thing against Marshall. And I want to see Devin Brown, Julian Sain go out there and be consistent again.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to next. The bye week coming up. I mean, this is going to be good. We don't really have a ton of injury concerns to watch out for. Donovan Jackson was available today, it sounded like. So it was kind of like break glass in case of emergency, but there's no really other injuries out there that need to be, figured out. So there's not a whole lot of concern there, but I'm excited for them to watch the tape, get in the room. I'm excited that right before the bye week, they get a really good game where they're going to have a lot of good stuff that they can point out on the film. Now, obviously, you're always going to have some film that you say, hey, could have had this block, or hey, could have done this different here, whatever it might be. But I'm excited for that to happen. And with this team coming out against Marshall, like Western Michigan, I don't want people to get it twisted. Like this is a pretty good team. Like for a MAC team, this was a pretty good team. I think this team is better than Marshall. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves too much, but the way I look at it, like I just want this team to come out against Marshall and see
Right.
no issues, nothing like with got too arrogant, got too cocky, or anything like that. Like no slow start. Just get out there, do what you're supposed to do, handle your business. And when it comes to the third quarter, we got Devin Brown out there. We got the backup wide receivers. Then we get in their time because, like we said, it's invaluable that these guys are only playing 2 quarters and then they're fresh and ready to go for the next week.
Elite teams, or shall I say, top dogs, it doesn't matter who's in front of them. You put a top dog in front of another dog who's scared or who's inferior, it doesn't matter. They go and bite that dog's head off, So I'm just that's what I want to see. I want to see these guys go out there, be dogs. Like Coach Locke said in the skull session, we smell blood and we coming with blood and thunder, man. So I just want them guys to go play with their hair on fire, because here's the thing. You're not playing the opponent. These games that Ohio State have lost these past years, I don't really feel like it's been because teams have beaten us. It's because we beat ourselves. So that's what I want to see. I want to see us continue week in, week out, building on that, cleaning up the mistakes, definitely cleaning up them penalties, because the penalties got to go. Them guys that committed the penalties, I make them run the stadium. But I'm not.
Yeah. No, I agree. Brian Myers brought it up. I agree. That was one of the only negatives coming out of this game. I do think you can, you live with it. It's not like, it's going to be the worst thing in the world, but you're right. People are going to be running next week because you just can't have those. Like in a big game against one of these premier opponents, you just can't have that happening. Those are free yards for the other team. We saw it. We saw it with that team up north this weekend, right? They were having a few penalties here and there. Texas should have scored on that very first drive against them, but they had some false starts. They had some holding penalties that went against them. Mike, I think we covered everything from this game, but